Hey guys, welcome back. Drip and Farm for Poverty. I'm your host, Drip Coach, dropping knowledge bombs on all Forex Shark related projects. And today's video, we're going to be exploring what would it take to reach $1 drip? How soon? How likely? And what about $5? Can we get there by the end of the year? So lots of questions have been asked. I've gotten in my Telegram. I got tagged in the drip chat. I've seen the actual posts from other content creators, and everybody is kind of getting excited. We all know what's around the corner for drip, drop, draw, and kind of like when Bitcoin pumped, right? Everybody just gets super excited, and especially with drip because you make 1% per day, so it can make a big difference. I know it does on my wallet just by going up a few cents when you have a couple thousand drip. So the question is though, how likely is this? And when should we start getting on the moon boy train and riding to the moon with everybody else? Now I'm gonna mention Richie in his post, and I'm on the same sentiment. I'm not celebrating this drip pump till we reclaim $1. Can we do it? So that's exactly what we're gonna find out in this video. But first, shout out to Slice, because even if we get to $1, he ain't selling single digit drip.
I ain't selling single digit drip. Nah, what's wrong with y'all? Shit, y'all ain't trying to ball. Satisfied with a happy meal, with no shopping at your local mall. Hydrating like once a month, no tapping in, you not involved. Got banned from the drip chat, ladies of the faucet got bigger balls. I'm just saying this drip or drown. All that wine, just sit it down. All that crying, just move around. Going hard for mines like Bartertown. I'm just saying this drip or drown. All that wine, just sit it down. All that crying, just move around. Going hard for mines like Bartertown.
All right, definitely had to throw that in there. So let's get into it first. Now, before we break it down, we're going to go with the good, the bad, and the ugly, because we got to look at all sides. We can't just, I can't just jump on the Moon Boy spaceship, because that's not how I roll. So we're going to look at the good, bad, the ugly, but we're going to, of course, start with the ugly, because it's just easier pill to swallow, right? Get that out the way first. So first of all, as they say, history doesn't repeat, but it does indeed rhyme. And we've had quite the rhythm on drip, and not the rhythm that we would like. So we can look historically at previous pumps that we've had in the past. So I have outlined the last three, and I'll be using these in the chart later. Just want to show it to you guys here so you can figure out where I'm getting this stuff from. So basically what we're looking at here was the pump that we had in November, or not pump, I'm sorry, these are sell-offs after a pump. So in November, we had this one, and it lasted for 20 days, and we lost 68%. Then we had another short-lived one that sold off. We lost 63% over 34 days. Then again, this most recent, we lost 65% over 44 days. So there was 3 of these cycles. And I didn't measure the peaks because, again, this is the ugly, right? The reason I'm bringing this up is because this is a scenario that could play out if things are delayed and if things do not launch. All of these were based on speculation, where the drip community rallied behind what they thought was going to come out. October 31st is supposed to be the first Animal Farm launch. Then this one was when it actually launched. And then there was some issues or something like that. But all of these were centered around speculation and hypotheticals, and the community getting excited and then being let down. And then unfortunately, FUD kicks in and people just head for the hills. And that's going to happen again. It's not FUD, but if we don't get a date, or if the community doesn't get a date they like, or they get something that they're not expecting, kind of like what happens with the CPI data numbers and all this stuff like that. The market forecasts or puts this in to play before the announcement actually comes out. So in drip, people are buying and stuff like that because you buy the rumor, you sell the news. So it's already forecasted in. That's probably why we're seeing this pump. Triple D is getting marketed around and all that stuff. So if anything other than the community expectations are met, it will do the opposite. So if there's any delays, any issues whatsoever, you can think or see for yourself that this will probably go the other direction. But let's look at, so this is on the pancake swap side. So I've taken all this, it has the volume and all that, and that'll be in the spreadsheet. And then we need to look at the native DEX side as well, because remember, we have 2 different sets of liquidity. So on the native DEX, we had to look at what the BNB balances were for this time period. So I put this in the chart. So that's where you see these numbers here, BNB account balance. This is on the fountain itself. So you just come to BSC scan, and you can get this from the fountain contract. And then over on the tax vault side, or supply side, that's this contract here, or look at this graph. So remember, we need the BNB balance and we need the total supply of drip at that time to see what again has historically happened. So I already put this into a handy dandy spreadsheet, of course, right? What good would this be without a spreadsheet? So let's look at the ugly. So last 3 pumps that we had over on the pancake swap side. So we have the start date and the end date, and then the starting price on pancake swap and the ending price, and then the percentage. This is the exact same thing that you saw on Dex Screener. And then this is the amount of volume that was done on that in that time frame, right? So it gives us the amount of BUSD that was circulated in the contracts. Those were all mostly red days. That's pretty much how much total volume was done in BUSD for sales. And then it did the same thing for the other down days and the other one. So that's all 3. And then just took the average. This comes out to a 32 days. So basically in 32 days, on average, we have lost 65%. And it took about 1.6 million in volume. Now, I have to keep in mind that as the pro token price gets lower, it will actually take less volume to do these numbers because it's cheaper. So you have more tokens that can be injected into the circulating supply, but that can still affect the price. So it won't take as much. Like up here to go down 68%, it took 2.2 million. And then here to go down 65%, it took less than half of that. So just keep that in mind as the price gets cheaper. And right now we're sitting between this range, right? So that is on the pancake swap side. Then we did the exact same thing for the native DEX and had to get the starting price of BNB and the ending price of BNB, because obviously that makes it even more volatile and fluctuating, but still you'll come up with the exact same averages, 65% and $546,000 in volume on the BNB side. So again, a big difference, because remember, we have like 3 times as much liquidity. And remember, that's kind of some food for thought. That's how the sword and shield protocol works in our favor and against us. So since we have all this liquidity over here during sells, it takes a lot more money to affect the price. So people will be selling in the location that has the best rates. And then since there's more liquidity and it's tied to BUSD, this rate will hold for longer. But the same also happens when it pumps. It takes that much more to pump it. So just keep that in mind. So again, same average, 32.66 days. And this was the average BNB price. So luckily, one good thing for us in this ugly scenario is that we probably have seen the lows in BNB. Again, not sure, but depending on who you listen to, they think the lows are in. Bitcoin could go down, maybe break 20, but not lower than what we saw in the like FTX collapse, right? So here's the absolute ugly. What is the worst case scenario? So let's say it does not launch and we get delays. It'll launch eventually. Forex always does deliver. So eventually it does launch. But what happens after 32 days? Well, the ugly is we're right back where we started. So we would theoretically have a drip price of around 28 cents, which was our all-time low. I think was 23 cents on the native and like 27 or 25 on the pancake swap. So that would be the most ugliest scenario, and that would happen by about 21 March in theory. So remember, we've actually sustained a little bit longer than we previously have. So as of right now, the price has been holding up. So we're breaking a slight trend, but again, history doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme. So I don't want to get too excited and again ride that Moonboy rocket ship just yet, because we have not launched. We don't have a date. We don't have any confirmation as of this video. So right now, recording this video, it's Tuesday evening. All right, let's move over to the bad. So that's the ugly. We'd be back where we started, and hopefully we have a launch date by then. If not, you know what's going to happen because we've been seeing it happen for about a year. Now, here's the bad, right? This is the tax vault. So luckily right now we have almost the most we've ever had in the tax vault. Let's show that real quick. So this is the BSC scan history of the tax vault. At our all-time high, we had like 854,000, 860,000 somewhere in there. And we're sitting at right now 776. I think we got to 800 and some change, didn't we? Almost. We almost got to 800. So this is only in the bad news because we have a decent, healthy tax vault right now. However, given the ugly scenario, if there were no buys and this continued to play itself out, what I did here is basically look at how long it took for us to deplete the tax vault from the first pump. So we had 142,000. That was in the 23rd of November, and we were selling about 23,000 a day. Then on 29 December, when we had the first buy and burn challenge that Ray did, we basically started selling off 35,000 a day. So again, remember, the longer this goes, the more wallets max out, the more people that get in and get reach max payout. That just creates more reasons for people to exit if nothing is being done. We've seen that again over the last year when nothing came out while we were waiting on the delays on the animal farm. People went and sold their drip and went into other projects. And that's going to happen again. That's not fun. That's just the way the degens roll, because if they're not making the money they want in DeFi, which is the triple X or triple digit APRs and 10x overnight, then they get bored and they will sell their drip and try to ape into something else, even if it's at a loss, because the Moon Boy degens think that, well, I'll take a loss on this because I can just roll the dice on this other thing and maybe I'll make the money back. So we already know they're impatient, they will gamble, and that will happen again. And therefore the tax vault will deplete itself if we get delays or things of that nature in this, right? So here's how long it will basically take. So what this one represents is the exponential increase of the tax vault being depleted. So we were at 23,000, but then literally a month later at 35,000. So that's 1.5 times as much liquidity being drained from the tax vault. And that again can be due to the amount of wallets maxing out and more people just losing faith in the contract and jumping into other projects. Maybe also it could have been due to end of year tax harp. No, that's only like 2 days. So either way, forecasting this at 35,000 times 1.5 is basically about 50,000 a day being sold off. So that means by the 9th of March, we would be minting again. So not bad. We can hold ourselves for about 3 weeks. But if we were at the current and what we currently been doing, the average, and not selling off as quick, then we make it all the way to the 16th of March. So that's why I label this as bad, because the tax vault is pretty healthy right now. All right, let's get over into the good, because that's what we really want to see here. And that's why you guys clicked on this video, right? How likely are we to hit $1 and how soon? And what about $5? Very, very good questions to ask. All right, for starters, I put up the previous dates that we had the pump, this most recent one, and using what the price would have been. Remember, due to the sword and shield protocol, there will be sell-offs, but this is what we're looking at when we're talking about, can we see the price pump? So we definitely can, because we know the price. Well, if you watch my channel, you know the price is related strictly on the circulating supply of the contract and the BNB balance at the current BNB price. So that's why this is important to understand, because it doesn't take a lot to pump drip. As of right now, there's 1.6 million tokens. That is not a lot of tokens. It does take a lot of capital to move that. Now, to stay there is very different, but this was important to see, because once again, in these 2 days, I'm calling it 3, we did $170,000. And we did this before on the 27th through the 29th, almost identical. Okay, not almost, but $12,000 difference. That's insane that this happened again in a same window time frame. And again, I'm counting this as 3 days versus 2, because that makes the math a little more realistic versus saying we did 90,000 a day and we're going to do it again. It's easier to just say that's 3 days. So 60,000 on one day, or average for the first pump, and 56,000 on another pump, and that's $58,000 a day, and it's happened twice now. So again, history doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme. So maybe we'll see that again. So first off, let's look at what the projections would be. So in a perfect world, if no sales were to happen and we wanted to hit these prices, this is what this shows. Meaning this amount of capital were to come in consistently on a daily average. This is how quickly we could get to these price points. Again, that's not going to happen. Also, we have the BNB price that does not stay the same. So take this with a grain of salt, but it will get you at least in the ballpark. Let's take a look. So to get to $1, we could basically do that in 7 days or less at these current prices. We would increase the BNB balance from about 2,300 to 3,400, and decreasing the amount of drip by about 600 grand. So we're moving 600,000 drip tokens and adding another 1,100 or so BNB, we get to $1. So not too difficult. Don't worry, I'm going to summarize this and it'll make it easier, make sense. All right, down here we get to like the 250 range roughly. Looking at adding 3,300 or so BNB and reducing the drip supply by 1 million. And that gets us to over $2, about $2.50. And of course, $5 is definitely feasible, not probable, but $5 would just be just under $500,000 in the drip supply, and adding another $5,000 BNB. So summary, we can look at this. So we need to get about 700 BNB at a BNB price of $306. If it goes up, it's even easier. And that's about $217,000. And that could take about 7 days if we were doing the $58,000 a day, right? Consistently. That's all that would take. 18 days to get to $2.50, and 30 days, literally 1 month, to get to a $5 drip price. And it would only take 5,300. I say only 1.64 million in liquidity. So less than 2 million. We've got that sitting in liquidity on other parts of the farm. You know, I've seen some of our other YouTube content creators sitting with like 1 million in their wallets. So it's not impossible. It's not improbable. But remember, this video is just about how likely is it that we could hit that. Again, we're not going to maintain it due to the sword and shield protocol, due to a lot of max wallets, but you can see how reachable or attainable that is, because it's only about these two numbers. This is 3 because the BNB price is important, but that's what's pretty cool about what Forex built. And with these new things coming out, such as Triple D, such as Scratchy and all that, this can definitely happen. But I told you guys on my channel, I believe we won't sustain any of this until we get the borrow and lending, because if there's an incentive to sell drip, then people will, because again, you're getting 365x on whatever your drip balance was. And the sooner you max out a wallet, the sooner you can make more wallets. So therefore, each person becomes an exponential drain on the contract, even if you're doing it responsibly. You're already 3.65 times a drain compared to one person. So for every one person that enters into the drip contract, think of 4 other people have to supply that amount of capital to pay them out. So as that increases, and now that one person can do 2 more wallets from their max wallet, well, now it's 8 people that have to pay them out. So the mechanics are meant to be that drip is a money printer and operates great in a bull market. But if there's no utility, if there's no mechanics in place to not sell, if there's no incentive for people to keep putting in new capital, such as Triple D does, then that's where we see this 1 year of negative price action. So there are a lot of things in place that can definitely fix this, where these are likely and can sustain, but we will have to wait until those are rolled out. So hopefully Triple D comes out within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then, like I said before, that will definitely be the tourniquet that we need to stop the bleeding on drip. And it could even cause some FOMO, but you will need something in place to where more people are buying than selling, and offsetting the people that are maxing out with no incentive to buy more and only just rehydrate. So that's only going to come from the additional utility like Scratchy, like borrow and lending, like the games and things of that nature, like tapping into other ecosystems and doing other stuff, cross promoting with drip. But by itself, that's what makes it so great, is it's a money printer for sure. All right, hope you guys found that valuable. So let's see if we can get to $5 in 30 days. I'm not going to put that out there, but yeah, hope you found it valuable. If you did, you know the drill. Smash that special brother out, like, subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, lift daily and achieve your impossible. See ya. Want to pay your in real life bills with crypto? How about send crypto directly to anyone with a bank account? Spritz Finance is a decentralized solution to be your own bank and connect your crypto earnings to real-world bills and payments. They do not take custody of your assets and allow support on multiple blockchains and Web3 wallets. Sign up below using my referral link and you will get $50 back when you make your first $50 bill payment with crypto. Additionally, I will be using referral bonuses to airdrop, donate, or burn based on community feedback. Sign up now.